Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another walk around. This time around I'm joined by the brand new Kia Soul EV. So as always I will take you around the car, talk you through the specifications and also give you my first impressions. So yes, here we go, the brand new Kia Soul EV. Now in Europe, the Kia Soul is only sold as an EV. The reason for this is because in 2018, believe it or not, more electric versions of the Soul were being sold in Europe compared to petrol and diesel combined. So yes, it makes perfect sense for Kia to drop the ICE, the internal combustion engine versions in Europe. So yes, this is the only one we get. To keep things really simple, there's only one trim level. This is the first edition, which will cost you £34,295 after you get the £3,000 back from the government. Now, I like the styling of the Soul. I think it's quite quirky, quite out there, quite distinctive. Now, I don't think it's going to be everyone's cup of tea, and I've spoken to a few people this week, and it seems to be quite a Marmite kind of car. But yes, I like it. I think it's kind of a breath of fresh air in the car market. I liken it to the the Suzuki Ignis. Again, it's quite a funky looking thing and similar kind of size-ish. But let me know what you guys think of the design. Drop a comment in the section below. Now, yes, as I mentioned, there's only one trim level, the first edition. But what do you get as standard? So you get LED lights, 17-inch alloys, which are unique for the Soul EV. Now, the Soul EV is actually called the e-Soul in other markets. So if you're watching this thinking, why is he calling it the Soul EV? That's not what we call it here. It does go by two different names. You also get keyless entry. You may just be able to spot the little black square, well, black rectangle on the door handle. Tinted rear windows. And you also get LED lights at the rear as well. But the specification does not stop there, because you get loads of goodies inside. Now, before I step inside, I want to show you the interior. Some would say it is a little bit bland, a little bit boring, but I quite like it, and I would argue this is a nicer place to sit compared to a Nissan Leaf. As standard, you get leather seats, the front of which are heated, and there's also a heated steering wheel, which is handy for this time of year because the temperatures are starting to fall. Autumn is very much in the air. Right, let me step inside the car. Hit the start button so I can show you the touchscreen and also the digital display. Yes, I want to confirm. Right, so as standard, you get a 10.25-inch touchscreen. In fact, actually, nothing on this car is optional. So everything you see comes as standard. So 10.25-inch touchscreen. This has navigation, as you can see on the left-hand side, DAB radio, Bluetooth and smartphone connectivity. If I actually turn the vehicle on and pop it into reverse, you'll see I have rear parking sensors and a reversing camera, and that whirring you heard in the background, that is the head-up display, which has just popped up. Again, that is standard. You get a 7-inch digital display, and you can go through the different modes using this button here. Sorry, my camera work has failed me. There we go, use that button there. As you can see, you can scroll through each sub-menu. There's also a choice of 4 driving modes. So there's a button down here, marked drive mode. Hit it, and you'll see you have Eco. Well, that's normal, but it wasn't Eco. Sport, Eco, which I mentioned a few moments ago. And if you hold down the drive mode button, you get Eco Plus. So let's pop it back into Eco for the time being. Now, you may have spotted the paddles on the... Sorry, let me just pop it back into park so it stops that somewhat annoying beep in the background. So you may have spotted the paddles on the steering wheel. Now, these aren't to change gears because, of course, this is an electric car. There are no gears. No, in fact, what these are for are to change the strength of the regenerative braking. So the paddle on the left makes it stronger, whilst the one on the right, of course, makes it weaker. So you have 3 settings for the regenerative braking. It's not going to come up because I'm not actually driving. But yes, you have levels 1, 2 and 3. 1 being the weakest and 3 being the strongest. You can't quite drive this car using one pedal like the Nissan Leaf, but it's not too far off. As well as other features, you get climate control, heated front seats, which I mentioned a few moments ago, and heated steering wheel. Again, I mentioned it a few moments ago. Wireless phone charging, and a good variety of safety systems, such as lane keep assist. I've also got adaptive cruise control, 6 airbags, and autonomous emergency braking. So there's not really much I would want in this car. Well, it pretty much delivers everything I'd want or need. Also, for you audio files out there, so you'd have to excuse a bit of dirt on the speaker, you get a 10-speaker Harman Kardon sound system with a subwoofer. It sounds pretty good. I quite like the bass. I wouldn't say the sound is quite as rich as other systems I've used, but it is a pretty decent sound system, so I've got no complaints there. The touchscreen is easy to use and the clarity is absolutely fine. Not the sharpest display, as you can see that too on BBC Two. That is, you can't really see it, but it's not quite crisp, it's kind of pixelated. But that's a really small complaint. Let's move on to the practical elements of the front. So the door bins aren't massive, but as you can see, I have been able to fit in a medium-sized bottle. That is 750 millilitres, and there's a bit of space left over. I mentioned the wireless phone charging slot a few moments ago, but you've also got 2 USB ports. There's one behind this cover here, and a 12-volt socket that's lurking just there. 2 cup holders in the middle, a little slot here where I sometimes pop the key. Sunglasses holder, just there, and there's me. Hello. A decent amount of storage underneath the centre armrest. I've got my camera case in there and then my notes. You've also got these cubbies down here, which I must admit, I didn't even know existed until this morning. Well, I say this morning, about a few hours ago. I put my hand down there and realised, oh, that's actually a storage bin. It's not overly large, but you can fit a few smaller items in there, so that's quite handy. There's also one on this side. I think it's quite a nice practical touch. But yes, you don't really notice it's there when you first get in the car, if I'm going to be honest. And of course, last but not least, you do get a glove box, which isn't massive, but as you can see, I've been able to fit a few snacks in there, and I've got the owner's manual as well. Overall, the inside is a nice place to be. Okay, well, that is soft touch actually, so that is quite nice. Yeah, there are some harder scratchy plastics knocking about, but am I really fussed? No, not really. Now, unlike the Nissan Leaf, the steering wheel adjusts for rake and reach, so getting a comfortable ergonomic setup will be easy, particularly as, if I bring you guys down here, my camera work's going to be a bit iffy. There we go. I've got a driver's seat which is 8-way electronically adjustable, so getting a comfortable setup should be as easy as ABC. Anyway, let me step into the rear of the car. Turn off the, well, I was going to say ignition. I suppose it isn't ignition because it's not igniting. But yes, turn the car off anyway, you know what I mean. And show you the rear. As always, the driver's seat has been set for me. I'm 6'2", so I am, of course, a taller chap. Let me step in like so, take the weight of my feet. Now, I'm sure you'll agree, the space I have left over is very impressive. I've got lots of knee room, and if I just take you guys off my little mini tripod so I can swing the camera around, give you a better angle. Hopefully you can see I've got loads of legroom. Look at that, I can really stretch out and relax. And I've still got space when I do that. So that is very impressive, Kia. Well done. Also, because this car is quite boxy, I've also got a good amount of headroom as well. So if you are a taller person, fear not, the back of the Soul EV has you covered. But what about practicality? Actually, before I speak about practicality, could you fit 3 adults in the back? No, I think it would be quite tight. Of course, for 2 adults, it'll be just fine, or for children. If you are concerned about carrying children, there are, of course, ISOFIX points. Now, yes, on to practicality. The door bins aren't massive, but you can fit a bottle in there. In fact, let me get my smaller bottle here. That's 500 millilitres. That fits in just fine. Weirdly, you don't get a map pocket in the back of the driver's seat, but you do get one in the back of the passenger seat. So if you have an A to Z or a magazine, you can slot it in there. There's a USB port down here, so those in the rear can charge their smart devices on the move. That's quite handy. And you have a hook up here where you're going to hang up an item of clothing. Now, unlike the e-Niro, there isn't a centre armrest, which may disappoint some, but that is a small complaint. And let me pop you guys back into my mini tripod. And let me show you the boot. Lift up the tailgate like so. Now, the boot is one of the weaknesses of this car because it's not quite as large as the e-Niro. The e-Niro offers 451 litres, whereas this lags behind by quite some distance. This is 315, no, not 350, 315, and that's not actually that much larger compared to a Ford Fiesta. It's also smaller compared to the Nissan Leaf and the Hyundai Kona Electric. So if you do want an EV with a bigger boot, that's worth bearing in mind. As always, I've got my filming crap in here, but I will cut to a clip where the boot is empty. On the plus side, the boot floor is adjustable, so that gives you better practicality and better versatility. If you need more space, you can of course fold down the 60/40 rear seats to give you 1,339 litres. In case you're wondering, you don't get a spare wheel as standard, but you do have a tyre repair kit which is underneath the boot floor, as well as an area to store your charging cables. And you've got the subwoofer for the Harman Kardon system in the back as well. The tailgate isn't electric, but to be honest with you, it's not that heavy, and it kind of lifts itself up a little bit once you get it to a certain point anyway, so I don't think that's really going to be of a large concern. Now, of course, it's time to speak about the battery and the electric motor. So let me lift up the bonnet. Actually, the bonnet releases on the driver's side, so I don't know where I'm going. I've been used to having a few cars where it's on the passenger side, but no, in this vehicle it's on the driver's side. This bonnet's normally quite easy to get up, so this should be quite a quick affair. There we go, and it supports itself. Makes my life easier when doing these kind of videos. So what you are looking at is the same powertrain used in the sister car, the Kia e-Niro. It is a 204 horsepower electric motor, which is backed up by a 64 kilowatt hour battery. As I mentioned, it offers 204 horsepower, along with 395 newton meters of torque, which I'm sure you'll agree is pretty generous. Power is fed to the front wheels, and this car will get to 60 miles per hour in a rather respectable 7.6 seconds. And the top speed, in case you're wondering, is 104 miles per hour. What you guys want to know, though, is of course the range. So this offers 280 miles, which I'm sure you'll agree is pretty ample. You shouldn't really have range anxiety in a car like this. Some of you may be wondering why it's 2 less compared to the e-Niro, because they share the same powertrain. That's because, let's face it, the Soul EV isn't exactly the most aerodynamic car, is it? So the e-Niro, the drag coefficient is better, therefore you get 282 miles in that, whereas in this you get 280. But hey, 2 miles, what's that? You can walk 2 miles. You may not want to, but you can. So yes, there we go. The Kia Soul EV. In case you're wondering, this particular model is finished in clear white with red roof. The red doesn't get any fancy name, it's just red roof according to Kia. And this two-tone paint is also standard. As I mentioned, nothing on this car is optional, so pretty good value. Actually, I've not spoken about the value that much. No, so before I sign off, let me close the bonnet to give a cleaner look on camera. So I'm pretty sure I mentioned the price earlier, £34,295. But to put that into some kind of perspective, this is cheaper compared to the range-topping Nissan Leaf, the range-topping Kia e-Niro, and the range-topping Hyundai Kona Electric. So yes, this is pretty good when it comes to value. The boot space isn't quite as good, but yeah, swings and roundabouts. Anyway, guys, I think that's time for me to conclude. If you have any questions about this car, please do get in touch, or if you just want to leave a general comment, please do so in the comment section below. One last look at the Kia Soul EV. I like the design, but I know I mentioned that earlier. Anyway, time for me to finish. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you have enjoyed it. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.